Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Palmer. My character of choice was Ainsley Norris from the TV show Landman. I picked her, well, for a couple reasons. As I was pre-reading through some of our chapters, I discovered that some of the theories that we would be talking about really spoke to her personality. I also feel like she had such a strong personality in the TV series that she might have been a little bit easier for us to, or for me to analyze. So, to go over some of the characters and the plot of Landman, in case you've never seen it, Tommy Norris is her father in this series. Angela Norris is her mother. She also has a brother, Cooper Norris, which we don't see a whole lot of interaction between those two. There is Rebecca and Ariana, both of which are strong characters throughout the series, and you can kind of see some influence that they both have on her throughout the series. And then you have Ryder, which is her second boyfriend that you see in her high school career. The location is set there in West Texas, and the main focus is on the oil industry of that time. The plot of this story is it's just the struggles of living in a very conservative, rich, and oil-driven society. The family is not your typical high society oil family, but there also is a brief period in there where there's this drug war going on between the oil industry as well as the drug smugglers there. So who exactly is Ainsley Norris? She is the daughter of Tommy and Angela Norris, like I've already said. She is the primarily raised by her mother. Tommy and Angela get divorced before the story even begins, but there are several hints to that at the beginning of this story. She comes and she visits her dad for a summer. In that summer, she brings her boyfriend, who ends up dumping her because she doesn't give him the affection that he is wanting, and so she decides to stay there in West Texas. And that is kind of what begins the story and why her mother ends up coming, and how the relationship between her mother and her father re-evolves. And then the story just kind of navigates her struggles of being in a new society and an oil industry. Again, her father is Tommy Norris, and he is a landman, which basically means that he just manages high-stake oil industries, and he is just in the midst of it. And because he's on the front line, he is also the front line between the drug war and the oil industries as well. Then you have her mom, which is Tommy Norris's ex-wife, turned girlfriend and possibly future wife as the story goes on. And she has a struggling relationship with Tommy because he doesn't always provide her what she feels she needs. She has a complex relationship with her son Cooper because it's just not a strong relationship. And then she has a very close bond and relationship with Ainsley herself. And again, she is not your typical oil high society conservative wife. So the struggles, it just goes over the struggles that she has trying to find her place there in West Texas. Here just briefly talks about the relationships between the family. So again, Ainsley is very close with her mother. She loves her father, and his opinion is very important to her. She shows him a lot of empathy, but they're not as close. It's almost an attachment issue. And then you have her brother, which she has a very strained relationship with. The story never really tells us why, but I believe it's probably something along the lines of them having very opposite personalities. The theory that I chose from our book that really describes Ainsley is the social cultural theory. It was introduced by Lev Vygotsky in the 1920-1930 area, where he believed that people with the social cultural theory had strong social skills, and their interactions in those social environments were very important to them. He leaned into the reciprocal transactions, where those social relationships were so important to their development that it was a give and take. This is shown with Ainsley throughout the entire story. She is an outgoing, fun-loving type type of personality, but she's very sheltered due to the region in which she's being raised. It is very conservative there, and she is just a product of that upbringing in that scenario. You'll see it in two primary examples that I pulled specifically was with her trying to find her star quarterback of a boyfriend writer. In that scene, she's dressed to impress, showing off her body, using it to her advantage, and being that very bubbly personality. And then the second one is actually in season 2 when she goes off to college at Texas Christian University, so TCU. And in there, her and her roommate kind of get into a tuffle, an argument over the use of them and they. So again, Ainsley is raised in a very conservative region, and her and her roommate fight over using it solely as plurals. The one that I use as her exact opposite would be the Jean Piaget's conjugative development theory. In that theory, it is very like self-talk, independent exploration, and like direct interaction with the environment, less social interaction. Ainsley is the exact opposite of that. She wants to be the center of attention. She's a product of being raised by her mom. She very much acts like her mom, flaunts herself just like her mom, and needs that acceptance from her parents and society in order to feel validated in her everyday efforts. And then the social culture environment and how it affects Ainsley. I mean, again, she is raised in a difficult relationship between her parents, and that shows in her relationships. She doesn't carry a steady, true relationship very often. She doesn't have, she has a very special connection with her mom, and so she carries herself much like her mom as far as money is important, high society, and flaunting herself. But she also still carries those very conservative morals with her throughout her entire life from being raised in West Texas. If you have any questions, please let me know, and thank you for listening.